I think it was like 11 a.m. my time. It finally got on the market and it was already at like 103. I'm just like, what? I missed out. I'm so sad. I missed out on this like $33 a share price. And then now 9 hours later, it is at like 150 almost now. I get so excited about these short gains. I always think about like, oh, what if I invested half a million when it was $33 a share? I could have retired by now, you know? I'm just like, yo, Justin, have you seen what's happening with Figma?
I woke up from your text. I saw that it was at 35. Now it's at like 135. So like what is going on? Because this is more your world than mine.
Yeah, low key, I think it might be a meme stock, but a lot of design professionals disagree. So, Figma is a design tool company. I've been using Figma every day as a designer since 2019, and I feel like they are an awesome design tool, enable designers to collaborate for the first time, which is really revolutionary for design industry. Because designers used to work in silos, they used to need to like make a lot of drafts, like version one, version two, version three, PDF, and send it over. And they were like kind of siloed off from the rest of like product and engineering team. They didn't really have a seat at the table. And now Figma has enabled designers to be more collaborative and like work closer to these product teams. So I feel like as a designer, it's really exciting to see Figma IPO. Not sponsored by Figma, by the way, to say any of this, but I last night at like 1 a.m. or this morning at 1 a.m. I was lurking on my Discord design buddies, and someone was like, "Anyone buying Figma stock?" I was like, "Figma stock? What is this?" So I googled like Figma IPO, and I was like, "Oh, it's today." And it's gonna sell at like $33 a share. I was like, "Ooh, I should get in on this. I want to buy $10,000 of Figma stock." Um, and I looked into it, and then me and my housemates, we were just like, I told all my housemates, and we got like so excited. We're all like dumping each like $10,000 into the Figma stock, and we're like researching like how to get money into our brokerage account because like I realized that it takes like 2 to 10 days for like Fidelity, and like it could take up to like 48 hours for like the funds to transfer over from your bank to like your brokerage account. So we're like freaking out on that. Finally figured it out. Got in Fidelity, got 10K of Fidelity, ready to like wake up at 6 a.m., which is like 4 or 5 hours of sleep tomorrow to get it. We woke up at 6 a.m. and I'm just like refreshing. I'm like, why can't I buy this stock? I want to buy it at $33. I think it will like, I don't know, go really up in value and moon. And I just like kept waking up like five different times between like 6:30 a.m. and like 9 a.m. I'm just like, why can't I do it? And I don't know, I was just like finally got out of bed, and I checked social media, and I'm just like, I think it was like 11 a.m. my time. It finally got on the market and it was already at like 103. I'm just like, what? I missed out. I'm so sad. I missed out on this like $33 a share price. And then now 9 hours later, the 6:30 a.m. Pacific time when the stock market is up, it is at like 150 almost now. And I'm just like, I'm just like having regrets. I'm just like, oh, I could have bought it at like 103. But at the same time, investing is like a long term thing. Like I get so excited about these short gains. I always think about like, oh, what if I invested half a million when it was at 33K, $33 a share? I could have retired by now, you know? I'm just like,
I know.
and
So
I,
did you get in at all?
no, because a lot of my friends who are do way more research on this than I do said I should probably buy it at $55 a share, and they think it's gonna go down because it normally doesn't inflate that much during like it's an IPO, so obviously everyone's excited about it. But low key, like I feel like it's gonna like triple the price. Maybe we don't know. We can't predict the future. But I low key like wished I went in at when I saw it this morning at 103. I thought we were gonna go down. I kept refreshing it, like every 10 minutes. I see 105, 102, 103. I'm like I don't know. And then I checked it an hour later. It's like 115. Check it an hour later. 130. Like what is this going on? Anyways, that's like why I'm like so distracted today checking the stock price because I've never been so excited about an APO in my life. It's a company that I use like literally every day for the past 6 years.
Yeah, no, I know that you've talked about Figma a bunch before. I know of the name because I know they made headlines back in 22 when Adobe tried to buy them, but I don't know, like I've never really used Figma, but I hear all the time within the content creator world, especially, right, when they're talking about design or anything like that. So it was really cool to see your excitement around everything. I know you had sent me a couple texts of like, Justin, look into this, blah blah. This is how much I'm going to throw into it, and I was like, I wish I was a little bit more liquid. Maybe I'll try to, but Yeah, this is absolutely insane. I agree with you. I don't think many IPOs take off the way that this one has. I'm really interested in terms of like what is your mindset now? Because you said that your friends are telling you to get in around 50. Again, this is not financial advice. So if you are listening, like don't make stuff or decisions based off of Grace and I. Do your own research. But like, what is your mentality around it right now?
So I've been like asking ChatGPT a lot of questions, which I don't know is the best. Again, we're not financial advisors. This is just like me as like a kid, like researching how to like gain the stock market because we all kind of like want to retire early and stuff. The Robinhood has like a early access feature, early access IPO feature. I saw someone make a tweet about how he bought shares on Robinhood for $33 a piece. And just like and by the way, like Fred explained earlier, like why so the Figma on their S1 statement, which is their statement towards investors, is 100-page long document that I plugged into Gemini to summarize for me. Um, it said it was at $33 a share, but this price is only for like institutional investors, so like hedge funds, big institutions, like who buy like thousands of shares at a time, not for like you and me, like average like retail investor. And then on Robinhood, it was listed at $90 a share. So I all missed out at the $33 a share. Anyways, couldn't buy it at that price. And I looked into this more, like on Robinhood. You can like apply to be part of their like IPO program. So you can like technically, if you're in that program, you can buy shares. So I'm gonna try to apply for that at Robinhood. And Robinhood's interesting. Like, I've used Robinhood for a couple of years, and I've noticed that some of my friends who use it more, like Robinhood, like rewards you for using it more. Like if you use Robinhood more, invest more money to Robinhood, the faster your stuff gets approved and like your money becomes liquid. The bank transfer becomes liquid over time. So I think I just need to use Robinhood more, do a bit more trading. And I think moving forward, I'm gonna sign up for the Robinhood's IPO program so I can get in early. And then also like it's just really exciting. Like I never been. I usually just like do SPY, just like index funds and stuff. And I kind of want to like put more money into like index funds because I realize I'm leaving so much money on the table. But also like when more like new like tech news happens, for example, DeepSeek and how that tanked Nvidia stock when it went super low. That's a time when I should have invested like $10,000 into it. So like paying more attention to tech news and just like even like stocks have been around for a long time if they tank because of something, but I believe in the mission like AI and GPUs and stuff. I'm just like invest more into it, and then with IPOs like sign up for Robinhood's IPO feature. But yeah, how about you? Have you been part of any like excited to like buy a lot of stocks from an IPO or like had a really exciting like stock market experience?
So like I paid attention, a lot of attention to stocks going in school, like when I was still in college, because again I was a finance major, right? There was like this investment club. I was like, okay, let me join, let me get rich. Didn't get rich, right? But just kind of like threw money into it just to play around. I think the most unique story that I have around this is at the time I worked at Universal, just as a cashier. And I'm walking in and I see this guy. He's a team captain, so he's a level above me, right? And so kind of like my manager, but not the manager of the whole team, so to say. But he comes in, he's got like nice clothes, right? And mind you, again, I'm making maybe 13 bucks an hour. He's probably making $15 an hour. But he's got like Louis on, Gucci on, all these different sort of things. And so like I'm picking up on this. I'm like, okay, this doesn't match up, right? Like how are you affording this nice of clothes, but you're working this type of job? Not to knock people, right, in those jobs. That was one of the hardest jobs that I'd ever been in, just because like you're dealing with customer service on a regular basis. But in terms of like the pay didn't match the clothing. So I started talking with him more. And I think the craziest thing was he was like, oh, I was like, I'm from Connecticut. I want to get into finance. He's like, oh, like I used to live in New York. I actually used to work at a hedge fund. And I'm like, wait, my team captain used to work at a hedge fund. And so literally ever since or like after like a month or two of working at this place, me and him started getting closer, and he's like, I'll teach you how to trade stocks. And so every single time, like during lunch or like dinner, actually, because I worked night shifts usually, he would come in, tell me what books to read, and then we would like fake trade essentially. And I was making money. The issue, like via fake trading, of course, but I didn't I never took that skill set and moved it into actuality of like my own money. And I think the reason for that is I get way too emotional when it's my own money. And the number one thing that you need to do when you get into finance is like try not to be emotional. And I would say that'd be my advice to you, Grace, because obviously you get very hyped about things and like very excited and things of that nature. And I've definitely done that, especially like during crypto, because that's when declassified was popping off and we were very liquid around things. And for me, it's very hard to take that emotion away, which, again, just being fully transparent, caused me to lose some money, like not a crazy amount of money, but I also didn't get to be a part of the gains of if I had just invested in the SPY as well. Right. And so, like, I think for me, I would not go back into investing in individual stocks unless I have the mentality and like the time and effort to like just dive deep into a stock. Like when I was doing it with my team captain at the time, like I would go home and just study stocks, pick, utilize like the way that he would tell me to read charts and things of that nature. And then like it would work because I was obsessed with it. But when I'm like half assing it, that's when I noticed that I was just trying to go for the quick cash grab and it never worked out in my favor. So like that's something that I've noticed about me though. But it was like it was definitely a cool experience just because of, again, what are the chances that my team captain at Universal happens to be a ex hedge fund person.
That's so lit. I'm also curious, like when you mean obsessed, like what does that look like? Like looking at the charts every hour of the day, or like how obsessed do you think you had to be successful like day trader in stocks?
So like I think it's really hard, right? Like even if you just look at the stats of like day traders or whatever, it's like I don't know what the actual number is, but it's definitely over 50% don't make money, right? And so your odds are already against you. It's probably closer to like 70 or 80% don't make money. Um, Most of the people that are pitching you like how to trade stocks on like social are just making money off of selling you a course, if we're being honest here.
Hmm.
And so for me, what it means, like what I've noticed about me is when I obsess about something, it works out really well. When I spread myself out too thin, it doesn't typically go well for me. And so obsessed is very similar to when declassified was like popping off on social. Like I would wake up, my screen time on my phone is like 8 to 10 hours plus every single day because I'm just scrolling and researching and like taking notes and like favoriting the right things, fully built out the algorithms on different pages to make sure I know what's working in the career space versus what's not working, what's working in other spaces, what can I bring that into the career space. So that's what I mean by obsess. Now, what does that look like from a finance standpoint? It's like the similar mindset of like, yes, you can be in the charts all day long, but you have to figure out, are you a fundamental investor or are you a technical investor, right? And those are very different strategies. And so like you need to know all of these things. You have to have your sort of rules that you oblige by every single time. Again, I did not, and that's why it did not end very well for me. I was just kind of in it to try to make more money, and so like that's what I mean by being obsessed is just 100% all in. Now it doesn't have to be all of your time, but it could be like Mondays and Tuesdays are my finance days. I'm just gonna spend 10 hours a day just like heads trying to figure out what's going on in the stock market, basically.
See. What have you learned from the stock market? What's like a TLDR of how to like read stocks or like how to like gauge what stock would do well for those listening and for me too?
So he was really big on technical analysis, which is reading charts. And it's a lot of people say that it's outdated because especially with AI and quant traders and things like that, it's a little harder to to work on it or like make it happen the same way as previously. And so basically the way that he taught me was you would look for humps, and then typically on the third hump, it would typically go crazy. And then when I say go crazy, it's like over 5% gain, right? So these are it's not like Figma where you're going up 250% in a day, but like it'd be 5% gain, and your goal is to like get 5% every single day, so that continues to compound and add up. And like there's another technique where you like take a ruler or you take a like a straight edge side of a paper or something, and like the way that it aligns on the chart, you could see when the next peak would happen, and you're like, again, it's all guessing, but you would assume that that's where it would hit. And it seems all mumble jumbo because it's like you're looking literally at lines on a graph. There's no real like fundamental background to it, especially like if you listen to Warren Buffett or anything like that. But it low key worked. Like I think my portfolio, again, it was like a fake portfolio when we were just tracking and running it when I was like 19, 20 years old. I think I was up like 15, 20% over the year, which is really good. Again, that was like 1 year, right? And obviously my track record is not that great post the fake money time frame, but it does work. So it's like, again, figuring out what your strategy is and sticking to it. I just am really bad at sticking to it.
Yeah, I feel like it just you need that like level of deep obsession over the stocks and numbers, and that's why day trading sounds so sexy and all, but very few people succeed in it. I used to want to be a day trader back in 2021 when I first made my a lot of like adult money in tech for the first time, and it was when my parents made me pay rent, and I'm just like, damn, that's a lot of my paycheck going to rent. Like I think like low like Asian parents, they see it as like giving back to your parents, I guess. Like, but at the same time, it was my first time enjoying like real adult money, so I was like pretty scarred by that experience. So I started reading a shit ton of investing books and learning about PE and like expense ratios and just like watching tutorials on how to maximize my retirement accounts and how to like do stocks and stuff. I feel like I watched like day in my life as like a day trader. Like they had to wake up at 4 a.m. to do the market stuff. And I don't know, from that takeaway of like really deep diving into like investing stuff, I feel like the best advice I could give as like a non-financial advisor is to invest in things you know best about, which could be like even a stock you follow or like being safe, just like SPY, like S&P 500. There's like index funds, which is a collection of many stocks. And like having a balanced portfolio. For me personally, I like to balance like stocks, like crypto, and like index funds, mutual funds, bonds, and everything as the safest way in for my learnings that you can like set and hold. But also investing in your skills, especially your negotiation skills and ability to make money and business skills. And that's my key takeaway after like obsessing over the stock market. And I'm just like, I feel like life has more meaning than this. But it was kind of fun. It was like a little rabbit hole when everyone was locked in at home, and I was just like, I want to make more money without doing more work. So stonks to the
I mean, yeah, again, that was during the whole like meme stock craze and everything like that, right? Like I think
GameStop.
everybody, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was trying to make money. What are your thoughts with Figma though? Do you think it's still got I know you said that you would want to buy it when it's lower, but
Uh-huh.
like where do you think this goes? Is Figma gonna become one of these crazy big tech companies, or do you think this is kind of overblown, at least for right now, for like valuations and stuff like that? Because again, you
I
use it on
think
a regular.
yeah, I use it every day for 6 years. Like literally, I used to like make websites, make graphics, make these our podcast banners, my design buddy's social media graphics, our event banners, um, and our website and our product design, like literally everything. And they have yeah, I'm done. I like I'm not paid to show Figma, but I love my Figma. Um, yeah, I do believe in the product. Like I feel like coming from a design background myself, seeing how it can impact like large enterprises as well as startups and speeding up their speed of development stuff. And also staying on top of their innovation with AI. I'm sorry I said another buzzword AI, but I think I like the way how they're integrating AI into their workflow. It's like features like renaming layers, summarizing stuff. It's like adding these like AI tools to help you as help a designer not spend that much time on like busy work, like naming layers. Like that's a stupid ass, not stupid. It's a really tedious thing. Um, and then I feel like they also expanded their product offerings like FigJam for PMs, product managers, Dev Mode to help designers hand off properly with developers easily with specs and stuff. Um, and like Figma slides for like marketers, startup founders. So I feel like they are gonna become the next like Adobe tier company. That's my prediction. Like I think they're gonna become like Adobe. And yeah. And also like Adobe wanted to acquire Figma for $20 billion. But that deal, from my understanding, got turned down by the EU because they thought it was like a monopoly, and so the law and the EU turned down that. And then I think Figma had to pay $1 billion to Adobe in terms of like damages and stuff. But they still IPO'd really well. And I also think Figma has a really strong cult following. They invited me to config like every year for the past 5 years, and at this config, I've seen a lot of people get permanent Figma tattoos at config. So they're like super fans who really believe. And also, they have a community feature. They have a community as well where people can make remixes, plugins, community files. It's like a little GitHub for designers too. A lot of people contributing to that pro bono. Now they started adding monetization to that. So just taking a look of how they're integrating like future tech like AI or like innovative tech like AI, expanding their product offerings to beyond designers, and seeing their cult following. I have high hopes for Figma, and that's why like I leveraged this IPO to like make a LinkedIn post today about it, and it's been doing pretty well. I told LinkedIn that I'm investing $10,000 in Figma's IPO. I was gonna do it when it was $33 a share. I actually haven't done it yet. I'm waiting for it to be 50. But this is not financial advice. But I will invest $10,000 somehow, somewhere, and I'll keep y'all updated how that goes.
We love the clip farming. We love it. Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about the whole Adobe Figma situation, it was actually Adobe that had to pay Figma the billion
Oh,
dollars.
okay.
I just looked it
Mm.
up. But I think the craziest part was when Adobe had offered 20 billion for it, Figma at the time was only valued at 10 billion. And so they were already doubling that valuation right there. And right now, if you look at the market cap of Figma, I think they're sitting at like 47 billion. So that deal happened in 22. So it's been what, 3 years since then? And they 5x their value from 10 billion to almost 50 billion. That's pretty insane. That is outrageous, I would actually say. With that, though, you're saying that Figma could be bigger than Adobe. Adobe's sitting at 150 billion right now, I'm looking at. And their stock over the past 5 years is down almost 20%. And so, like, there's a lot of ebbs and flows there. We work with Adobe very closely for both of Declassified and Design Buddies. I love that Figma has that cult like following. That's pretty insane. Um, how long do you think it would take for Figma to outpace Adobe?
I honestly feel like they might. I feel like Adobe's still doing pretty well, like integrating like more AI features and expanding their product offerings, and Canva as well. They're all like kind of in a race. But I would say I feel like maybe in the next 2 years or so. I feel like because like Figma also, I feel like Adobe's still really different from Figma. Because Adobe focus on like they have really great like Photoshop, After Effects, like video editing, and Figma. I feel like right now the product offering is like for building product, and I feel like Figma more so like not kills, but like does something similar to startups like Miro, startups like Zeppelin for design dev flow. So I still feel like both of them are not really competitors, but when I talk to some people, it's like a different answer for some. Some like people think they're competitors, some I think they're not. But I feel like Adobe, especially, I love Adobe and I love working with them, but a lot of sometimes designers like don't really like it when Adobe is so expensive, and Figma is starting to add a lot of paywalls. Um, and I kind of see the sentiment, especially amongst the student community, becoming more negative for that. Even though Figma has a student plan, but just like a lot of designers kind of, they're really empathetic people, and they kind of like just want to help people, and they like it when things are free, which is what I've noticed throughout the years. Um, so I think I don't know. I think Vigo will have its challenges, but also its successes for sure. But I do think they're growing much faster than Adobe right now. But I'm also rooting for both because I also love Adobe's products. Like I use Photoshop like literally every day too, and like Illustrator too. So I don't know. I love them both.
I mean, again, I haven't used Figma, but at least everything that I've heard, it makes it seem like they're more complementary, right, than competitors. I think Canva is more of a competitor with Adobe than Figma is. I'd be really interested to see what a Canva IPO would look like because I think their last valuation was at 40 billion, which is pretty insane. So, yeah, I wonder what that would look like if they ever did IPO. But any other thoughts on Figma, Adobe, or anything related to the IPO today?
We love Figma. I'm also curious, like, are you excited for any other potential company IPOs, or how do you figure out if a company's gonna IPO?
I feel like Figma was the first really big IPO in a long time. Like maybe Airbnb during COVID, right? Because I think that's when they IPO'd. I'm trying to think of any other big ones that have really happened over the past like few years. To be honest, I feel like a lot of companies have stayed private because there's been so much like uncertainty in the sort of like VC capital world.
Yeah. Another IPO I'm excited for is Discord. Um, the reason why I think they're gonna IPO is I used to want to get a job there, and I was looking at their job boards pretty often, and I saw them hiring a stock admin. And there's a lot of rumors of like the CEO, or not the CEO. I've seen rumors somewhere. I can't remember where it's from. Maybe Twitter, or maybe like just a fake rumor. But I think they're gonna IPO too. I just think Discord went through a moment. Like I remember during I first I've been using Discord since 2018, so I've been like one of their longest time users. And I also use Discord every day, and I am rooting for them too. And I've seen them become so mainstream during COVID. Like they started expanding into general communities for like everything, and like communities for creators, communities for niche hobbies, communities for design, communities for tech, and then they laid off a bunch of people. Like I can't remember how many employees, but basically like a lot of my friends who worked at Discord got all laid off. Especially a lot of them were from the community team. It's like cut everyone, and they focus slowly on gaming now, like a more niche community. And when I think about like a company that IPOs, I think about like a company that's like a little bit more broad and catering towards more like demographic of users, um, and stuff. So I don't know. Like I feel like my prediction is, Discord might have like a smaller IPO, but I would still invest like $10,000 in them because I like their product and their team moves at a really fast pace and like iterating and stuff. And yeah, I think their founder is cool too. And overall, I just like them.
Discord, I think, would be interesting. If we're just talking about meme stocks in the world, that could be one of them because, again, so many.
Oh, the gamer memes.
Exactly. The gamer memes,
Wall
like
Street
Reddit is
bets.
tied to Discord, all these different sort of things. So that could be interesting. I'm looking at other IPOs that happened. I totally forgot that Reddit IPO'd last year.
Oh.
I
Mhm.
wish I had paid more attention to it because I feel like I would have invested in it because I use Reddit all the time. And like my Reddit usage has just exploded over the past, I would say, 2 or 3 years. And their stock is doing really well. They IPO'd at 50 and they're at 160 right now. So, and that's only
Wow.
within a year. So they're doing really well. I don't know what happened at the middle of this year or the beginning of this year, but they've almost doubled since April, which is pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah, should have invested in Reddit as well. Yeah, I'm looking at Nasdaq. There's so many companies that IPO that I never heard about.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like kind
for
of rare to
sure.
have a sexy IPO.
Because
Interesting,
my thing with
interesting.
Reddit is I feel like AI is just they're gonna scrape Reddit like crazy, and
Mm-hmm.
Reddit is so much better than Google when it comes to authenticity. I feel
I agree.
so. Like I really like Reddit. Again, not financial advice. This is definitely not a finance podcast. But now that I look at it, that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. Exciting. Yeah. I know you also want to talk about Prime. I know we talked about like stonks and the upfall and downfall. I know we had some topics we wanted to highlight downfalls and what we learned from the downfalls. So tell me about Prime, Jake Paul's
Okay,
drink and influencer products.
Prime, Logan Paul.
Prime. Yeah.
So
Oh,
Prime. Have you ever had Prime before? What are
I
your thoughts on
have.
it?
I had all their flavors actually. I first got it because my boyfriend Justin liked the Prime, and he like bought me one in Santorini in Europe at this time last year because we needed like electrolytes because we had like walking around sweating a lot. And he's like, Grace, you need electrolytes. Like, okay, here's the Prime. Like, oh, this stuff is good, man. And then like I got hooked onto it. Like literally like, every time I go to the grocery store, if it's like on sale, I'll get like 5 bottles of Prime. So I tried all their flavors on it. But I also like have some like friends, for instance, like how say that like Grace, don't drink that stuff. It's like really bad for you. And also friends look at me like, are you supporting Jake Paul? I'm like, I just like this drink. Well, yeah. What do you think about Prime?
So I like the flavor of Prime, but I always have to water it down whenever I drink it because I feel like it's really sweet, even though it has zero sugars in it, right? That's always weird to me. But I've been paying attention to it from the beginning because I love KSI. Like I've been a fan of KSI since he was at like 30 or 40K subs on YouTube, and now I mean he's in the tens of millions, if not maybe past hundreds of millions. I'm not sure, but like I've loved KSI ever since he was making his FIFA top 5 goals of the week. So if you've ever watched KSI, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I paid attention to it from the beginning. If you can probably remember, it was impossible to get at the beginning. Like it was always sold out, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now, if you go to the store, it's on sale a lot of the times. And I think that was interesting for me to notice. And so I wanted to just do some research and see what happened. And it has been wild. So let me just give you some numbers, right? So they launched in 2022. 2022, their first year, they did 250 million in sales, which is insane, right? That is crazy, especially for a drink company. And in 2023, they scaled that to 1.2 billion in sales with a B, right? So they were killing it. Now, though, if we're just looking at the UK revenue, because we only have access to the UK numbers because like European allows you to get access to this, it collapsed from 112 million in sales in 2023 to 2024 they only did 33 million. Again, this is just UK numbers, but that's a 70% drop in a year. And with that, their profit margin fell 92% to just 312K.
Wow, that's insane.
Exactly. This is all just 1 year. And apparently in the US, demand or sales have dropped 40% as well in early 2024.
Why do you think that happened?
So I think this is the question of hype versus loyalty, right? I think KSI, Logan Paul, they are great hype people. They can bring hype around whatever product. But similar to the Figma IPO, right? Like, is it sustainable? I don't know. Like for you, right? Why don't you go and buy a pack of Prime every single time you go to the store? Why do you wait for it to be on sale?
I do that because there's so many similar drinks out there. There's also like the body armor drink, that tastes like similar to me. There's like I feel like there's just so many alternatives, And after hearing my friends, the health freaks say Prime is like not that good for you, I'm like, oh, I don't even know what the ingredients are, but like, oh, it's not that good for me. I should like limit myself. So I stopped buying Prime once I heard it's like a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah, so I think they're in a few lawsuits right now.
Oh,
Um,
tell me more.
I saw one that was like a $68 million lawsuit, and then there's some other ones around like caffeine content and things like that too. I don't know if that's with the regular Prime drink or if that's with their like energy drink that they also launched. But yeah, I'm really interested. I wonder actually what happened on the back end because from my standpoint, I feel like I haven't seen Logan Paul and KSI push it as much as they did in the past. And so I wonder if they were able to sell some of their shares or equity on the back end. And so they're less involved. And because they're less involved, they're not able to draw in the hype as much. And so I think it's a combination of a lot of
Mm.
factors, but I'd be really interested to see if anything on the back end had happened to kind of change their involvement with the company. Because again, I would assume if they're at a 1.2 billion in sales, let's see, what is the sales multiple on a CPG drink brand to sell? So on average, I only see EBITDA. So from EBITDA, typically CPGs get 8 to 10x. So on sales, let's just say it's 5x, right? On sales. So a $5 billion valuation. I'm sure
Wow.
they had to have cashed out a little bit, right? Even if that was
Mm-hmm.
at 1x of sales, right? 1.2 billion, I would assume they would still cash out some of their equity there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least get paid out or something. So I really wonder. I have a feeling that something happened on the back end as well because I feel like I have not been seeing Logan or KSI push it as much as they did at the beginning.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm curious, like for the lawsuits, was it because it had caffeine content and they were sued for like incorrect advertising or something?
So I think for the caffeine one, again, I think they have an energy drink as well, which I think that's what that one is. So it might be too much caffeine, and plus since it's marketed towards minors too, typically, right? Because both KSI and Logan Paul, their audience is more kids than anything. I think that's a little bit more like strict around rules that can be in drinks or stuff like that.
Mm.
And they're also getting sued by the U.S. Olympic community or committee right now because they like used the trademarks Team USA and Olympic without authorization in like their packaging. So again, I think they're really good at drawing up hype, but I don't know how sustainable it is. You think it'll come back, Prime, or do you think they're cooked?
Um, I think it I think it might come back. I still feel like these creators, like KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, have a loyal following. I could dive into like I know they were canceled before and they kind of rose up again from that. So rings like I don't think there's any such thing as being canceled again, unless maybe it's people like Shane Dawson. But that's a bigger discussion too. Um, but I must get. There was also another drink. I don't know if it was you mentioned it. It was someone else, but it's by another creator who looks exactly like Prime. I just thought of it.
Oh yeah. It's called Moss, but it's by Messi.
Moss.
It's not
Yeah,
by
it
like
looks the
another creator. It's
same,
by
right?
Messi.
And
Yeah,
oh, by
the
Messi,
packaging
the
is
sports guy.
very yeah.
Have you tasted
It's
Moss?
I haven't tried it. No, let
Moss
me
drink. I haven't
for
seen it
those.
yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen real quick for those
Yeah.
who haven't seen it. So Moss is Messi's drink. If you don't know who Messi is, I mean we can't be friends, but Messi is like one of the greatest, if not the greatest, soccer players of all time, of our generation as well. So like this is Prime's packaging and this is Moss's packaging. It's like very similar font, very similar colors, and so very similar flavors as well. So it's very interesting. I don't think you
Hmm.
can blame Messi because I have a feeling he just doesn't even know about this. To be honest, he
Mm-hmm.
probably just sold his like licensing on it. Let's
Yeah.
see what does KSI's Reddit say. This is why KSI posted Ronaldo's a real goat. Um, he's getting sued. I legit saw this on Twitter. Yeah, so yeah, I mean KSI's fans are all backing KSI. But yeah, it is kind of insane the packaging. Do you think that it's ripped off?
Yeah, like definitely like the same colors, the same font, the same shape, even like the text in front. Um, the font's like the same font color, but that the glowing text. Yeah, I think it's ripped off. But at the same time, like just like how tech companies they copy each other, like how like every social media was launching stories at one point, and Instagram copying Snapchat, yada yada yada. Like low key, I feel like it's been normalized in the world. It's kind of sad, but that's how people do. It's like design is all about like not reinventing the wheel, but make something useful. Um, but I'm also curious, like on a bigger discussion, because I remember I first heard of Logan Paul when he was canceled for like filming himself like in the suicide forest in Japan. Um, and like creators, I think Jake Paul was canceled for something too, but I think they over have like a positive public sentiment now. What do you think that happened? Like, do you think being canceled is a real thing?
I think nowadays, and I'd be interested in your take. I don't think you can be canceled anymore. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are canceled, I think that's more of your choice to accept it.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I personally don't like canceling. I think you should definitely be held for accountability for things, right? And if you do something bad and your sponsorships get taken away, I think that's all valid and all fair. But I think especially the conversation around I think that there's a conversation around being canceled for something that you're doing right now, which I think is valid, right? So, for instance, with like Logan Paul, like that thing happened and he got, I believe, rightfully canceled because he did it then and there. What I
Mm-hmm.
don't agree
Yeah.
with is when people pull up stuff from your past and cancel you for that because, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that those are your views currently or what you would say today or the culture that was around during that time of whenever said thing was that is being pulled up, right? Your tweets from 8 years ago or whatever. And so I don't think that that's right. But yeah, what are your thoughts on cancel culture?
Yeah, I have similar views. I feel like if people pulled up my Facebook posts when I was like 10 years ago, I see on Facebook memories all the time. To be cursing about school, I probably would have got canceled. And I think people always learn and grow as long as they take accountability, and do things in their best way possible to correct what they did wrong. People learn and grow, and I think people shouldn't be held accountable. But I also think about different spectrums of this. Like, think about these serial killers who like are like psychopaths. Like, I think people who do that, like, it kind of depends on like what they did wrong. If they like killed someone but didn't like, but like knew they did it and have no regrets, then I think they could should be put in jail forever. But I don't know. There's like so many factors to it. People, I don't know, like, so because like I've also watched a documentary about this jail called Secot in El Salvador, which is the world's most secure jail. Like, these criminals, they look lifeless, and they're interviewing people from like MS-13 and these gangs in El Salvador. They're just like casually admitting that they killed 45 people, they killed a whole village. I'm just like, damn. But they also admitted how they have a really sad childhood. They grew up in life of abuse, and it's like normalized for them as a kid growing up. So it's like just really really sad. um I know that got kind of deep, but it made me like think a lot about like what really makes a criminal. Like, I know some people, I guess, like for example like school shooters, um sometimes they just have a really sad family and they just need help, but at the same time what they did is definitely not okay and they should be punished for that, and face consequences for that too. So I don't know, it just like really depends. I feel like there's so many factors that lead people to do things, and sometimes it's like not their fault, but they should be held accountable if they cause harm to other people at the same time. So I learn. um yeah, but
I
I
think
don't think, yeah. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, I mean, all I was gonna say is like I feel like for me, I don't know what the number is, what the timeline is, or whatever, but there should be some sort of expiration date on things that you say. I think when you do something and you're caught doing something in that time and day, I think you should deal with the consequences, right? But when things are done or when things are said, especially, and being taken out of context, especially like when people pull up old tweets or whatever it may be, I think I don't think that's as valid. Now, that being said, I think things like Diddy, right? Like in going and throwing a Diddy party, that should not be okay. You deserve the consequences that come with that, right? Because you're actively harming people or things and things of that nature. But when it comes to like you tweeted something and it may have came off wrong, or maybe you said the wrong word or whatever it may be, I think context is always important, and we all grow up in different places, right? Even just our upbringings, right? Like I'm sure that if you heard some of the things that were said to either me or to my friends or anything like that, you'd be like, "Whoa, Justin, what are you talking about?" But I'm like, "Yo, that was just like the day to day of our like our joking back and forth. Like people not knowing the culture would say that it's racism, versus us, it was like, yo, if you walked in the school, like you caught jokes no matter who you were. And I think that is always important, is to get context when anything
Hmm.
is being said. And it's hard with social because, right, you might be saying it to your friend, but the whole world can see it. And I think it's such a gray line in the world that we live in today.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember like also similarly me in middle school, and we grew up around the same time, like the 2010s, where people would name call each other as like the F word or like gay, um, and just like retarded and stuff. And that was like okay. It was like completely normal at that time. And now you'll probably get canceled for it. Because people kind of start to understand what it actually means and how it like puts a certain group into like discrimination in some way. Which is interesting. Cause I remember watching this other YouTuber, Shane Dawson. Have you watched Shane Dawson's videos?
Yeah, I remember watching, I forgot who did the documentary on like just canceling him, but I remember watching like that whole thing unfold.
Me too. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I really liked his comedy skits and Shanae and how he puts on makeup. I don't know. Like that's where my humor came from. Like I was like really bad influence as a kid.
No,
I
but
think
like
he got canceled
I
for.
think that's funny, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Jackie Chan said the N-word in Rush Hour, but like that whole movie is built off of subtle, if you're looking at it the wrong way, racism, but I just think it's funny jokes in my opinion.
Mhm.
But that movie in
Mhm.
today's world would never fly, right? The same thing with
Mhm.
Robert Downey Jr. playing a black guy in is it Pineapple Express or something like that? Like that movie would not be able to be released today. And so like I understand when people get mad at things like that. But I also think like you need to understand context of when things were being released as well. And
Mhm.
like during those times, again, those were funny jokes. And I would say some people are a little bit too sensitive nowadays because they can't hear those jokes and understand that it's a joke. Not everything should be taken as face value, so to say. But again,
I
that's
agree.
my opinion.
People are such snowflakes. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think the world is trending towards more snowflake behavior?
I I don't know. Like it's I don't know. It's crazy. Like I think a lot of people, if they grew up the way that I grew up, like my nickname growing up was Sleepy because right, I'm Asian. I have small eyes, right? But like everyone in my school got jokes too, right? So it was like, look, I didn't get mad, but other people didn't get mad too. But that was just a culture of our school, and I think it all depends on the culture of where you grow up. And I think nowadays, though, the issue, I think it's swung the other way now too. But before, like when cancel culture was big, the loudest people on the internet were people who grew up in very sheltered cultures, right? And then
Mm.
nowadays, I think it's kind of shift the complete opposite way, where I think it's still sheltered cultures, but sheltered in a different culture, and those are the loudest
Mm.
voices. And it's somewhere in between, right? The right way. That's how the world works. But the issue is the in between doesn't go viral on social. And do we play a little part in that as creators? Yes, I think so. But it's just like you see the whole controversy behind Jubilee right now. If you're going for things that just get views, you're going to want to put the content that they put out, even though it might not instill the best culture overall, so to say. But views are views for a lot of people.
Yeah, and anger and negativity cause the
Yeah.
most
Why do you
views.
think
Uh,
we have gotten, I guess, softer as a culture?
a little bit social media too. A little bit like I feel like just being in California, how everyone's super like left. Um and being in a designer demographic where designers are mostly like really left leaning and really like they call themselves woke, and I think COVID really, I feel like COVID was a time where everyone's super sensitive. Like during Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and everything like that happened in June of 2020. That was like a really traumatic time for me because I was getting canceled for not doing anything. We're just like trying to learn about this whole thing, not speaking up. Anyways, I think we have, I think that was a time where like I feel like June 2020 to June 2021 people were the most sensitive, and then I think people kind of like stopped being that woke anymore. Like um, because I think like people were just trapped at home, really angry, really frustrated during COVID. Um, and and I feel like the internet, like I feel like the video of the police and George Floyd like really instilled a lot of anger because it was also documented and shared and viral. Even though like I think these things happen a lot, like police brutality against like certain races happen a lot, but that one was just documented. People were online. People were already mad that they had to stay home and lockdown, COVID, struggling a lot because all the layoffs and struggling. That like pent up anger made everyone react that way. Um, but I think as things opened up, I think people, I don't know, like they start to just not forget about it, but it's just been a. I feel like they're not as like emotional anymore. That's what I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I think for me, again, it's around just the cultures that you grew up in. And right now, because of social media, who's ever the loudest on social or who's ever able to be the loudest on social, that's kind of the culture that reigns supreme. And I think right now, over the past like 2 or 3 years, you've seen it switch from going very left to very right. Which
Oh
I'm not here to say if it's right
yeah.
or wrong, right? But that's what you've seen. And I think the interesting thing, because like we understand social media, right, as creators, is if you look at it, it's very interesting to see how social plays a role in these types of things. And what I mean by that is apparently, again, I don't have the statistics to back this up, but I'd heard this in one place before. But like, have you noticed, Grace, that there is a lot more footage of bad things happening in the planes lately? Right? Whether
Yeah.
like a plane's
It's
on
all over.
fire
Yeah.
or like whatever it may be. Apparently, it's been an average year of like plane issues and things like that. It's just that's what the media focuses on because they realize that we can hyper fixate on that. And so now you're seeing it a lot more. And so like I think like there's always, you don't want to call it like an invisible hand, so to say, but if you understand how media works, I think you can start to see some of the things that are written but not actually said, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what I like to pay attention to. But yeah, I don't know if that's actually true or not because it has been kind of scary about all this plane stuff that has been happening, but apparently it's been like an average year. Besides, if you take away the one like crazy crash that happened, I forget where it was, it's been like an
The
average
Air
year
India
of like,
one.
yeah, like it's been an
Yeah. The
average
one
year of,
survivor. Yeah.
yeah. So
Crazy.
I would take a look at it, but again, I always say look, not to, or I guess to quote the Transformers, there's more than meets the eye with a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Just something really random, but since you mentioned you had a childhood nickname, I had one too, and it was called Squarehead. And now I realize I'm just mewing 24/7. They
You
call me
see,
Squarehead.
they call you squarehead,
But
but like
now it's a good thing.
nowadays,
That's a good
yeah,
thing. I'm just
exactly. Everybody
mewing.
wants,
I'm just
right?
naturally mewing.
Everybody wants the jawline now, right? So it's
I
it's
don't know.
crazy.
As a
Context.
kid, they're like square head, square head. I'm just like, now I'm just mewing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't
it's
know.
really bad. So.
It's a crazy world. I
Yeah.
think everything you just need to understand context again, and the issue is if you're in the middle, you don't get hurt. For better or for worse, that's the case nowadays with everything online. And I've had this conversation with a lot of creators, some that play in the political space too. And they've said it straight to my face. It's like, not that they're exaggerating, but they need to play things up because that's what is needed to get views nowadays because everyone else is playing things up.
Mm.
That's the world we live in. I don't know what else to say about it. That's not my world that I want to play in, especially not the political side of things. But yeah, Grace. Anything else
Yeah.
before we
There
got to
was
jump?
one other quick topic that I want to bring up. It happened this week. I can just quickly share. It was very fascinating because basically a creator, she there's a restaurant in San Francisco called Kiss Cafe that was closed down because of a TikTok video. Um so Carla on TikTok, like I first came across her video on my TikTok and it was like her about like she'll like a really bad restaurant experience and saying how um the when she came to the restaurant to do like a collab, she was like filming everything and she heard like the employees whispering but loud enough for her to hear how like I think she only had like 15,000 followers, like who is she, she's a nobody, why is she collaborating, so she felt hurt and left. And I think her feelings are valid in that, and she made a TikTok video which is something I would have totally done too. And then her video got like 20 million views. I checked last night, and then now she has like 400,000 followers. From 15,000 to 400,000 followers, and Kiss Cafe is shut down. Um, and like I was like looking at the Google reviews. I'm just like, wow, there's so many 1 stars, Google and Yelp reviews. Like I never seen such a restaurant being canceled for this. By someone else making a video about them. And then like I feel like I like low key sided with Carla because I'm also a creator and like I would have done the same thing. But I saw like a lot of articles about like from the SF local news about this cafe closing down like on Facebook, and I read the comments, and basically like 90% of the comments are saying how they side with the restaurant. They're like, what's an influencer, or like this is stupid, like the owner, like they're just kind of disagreeing with it. So it's like so interesting. I don't know, I thought I'll just share that because like I never seen a restaurant being canceled by someone else's video. It's just like the power of all of y'all listening right here. Like you're just like one video away from like potentially changing the trajectory of someone else's life.
I think again, I think that's like a blessing and a curse at the same time. I don't know in my opinion, I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
I feel for the restaurant, right? Because it wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like the restaurant that made a mistake. It might have been like one or two
Yeah. It's like
waitresses or
one
waiters,
person.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
It's actually the owner.
okay, so if it was an owner, okay, then
Hmm.
that's a little bit different. But
Hmm.
for me, I feel like there are instances where someone tries to be authentic when they give a bad review to a restaurant, which I think is okay. But there are also some times where people try to just go viral and get compensation. And I don't necessarily think that that is okay, so to say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who sides more with the Keith Lee perspective, and I have to go after this, but like the Keith Lee perspective is he will go to restaurants, A, he always buys his own food, B, and C, he makes sure that if he does have a bad review for the restaurant, he doesn't say anything. And the reason for that is because he knows that he has power if he does say something negative, and he doesn't want to be the reason that a institution shuts down. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
if like food is a little bit bad, if the service was a little bit bad, even if they were making a little bit of fun of you, I don't think that's cause to shut down a business. Should they get like a lesson or something like that? Yes, send them a note, send them a
Mm-hmm.
letter, whatever it may be, right? Send them an email. But I think it's really harsh on someone to completely shut down their restaurant because of one little incident. And now, if that was like something completely foul, like the food was bad in the way of like it gave you diarrhea for a month or something like that, I think that's valid because that then
Mm.
impacts a ton of other people. But them just like asking like what is an influencer or calling her out on like not having a lot of followers, that really only impacts that girl. That doesn't really impact
Mm-hmm.
anyone else at the restaurant. And so that's where I see it being a little bit
Mm.
selfish, so to say.
Yeah, I can see it. Like she just kind of, I think she also like, I don't know, as a creator myself, when something bad happens, I immediately film a video about it because I need to post on TikTok because it makes me feel better. So I can kind of understand what she did. And sometimes if I like, I delete it later if I feel like deleting it because I also don't want, I just realized I don't want to be known as someone who talks badly about other people too. Because I have posted rants and I deleted them after I calmed down. So I do understand where she came from as someone like that myself. But I also agree, like, I don't think I think that was kind of intense how they canceled the whole restaurant. And I think I don't know. Like I never been there. It's actually like 3 minute walk from my house in SF. It was like a new opening, so I'm just like it's so close. I like low key want to visit just to see, but it was intense. And I also don't think I agree. Like I don't think one creator's just like one bad experience with an owner like should result in a whole restaurant being shut down because it also it also impacts like all the employees' lives. Now they had to find new jobs. By the way, I saw they're just rebranding. They shut down for they shut down, but they're also like rebranding. I think that's what I read from like the SF News. So I think they're still going. Like this dude Luke Song, he owns like a bunch of restaurants in SF. A lot of people are going after them too, and his kids, which was really intense. Like they found his kids' social media, and then now I looked at it, and his kids are getting a lot of hate comments. So I honestly feel like I could do I empathize Carla, but I also feel like a lot of people kind of took it too far as well, and like trying to cancel his kids too. Like didn't do anything about it. So I don't know, just
Yeah.
crazy stuff out there.
I think that's the tough part, right? Especially when people take it too far. But all right. I
Mm-hmm.
think we've talked about everything that we needed to today. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.